Alex, tell us about this mine and where we're at in terms of development.
Yeah, good morning. We made a discovery just outside of Perth, as you mentioned, in early 2020, so about 15 months ago now. And it's shaping up to be what we consider Australia's first major palladium discovery. It also hosts a number of other green metals, the critical metals that everyone is talking about right now, including nickel, copper, cobalt, as well as some platinum and gold as well. So it's a polymetallic discovery. It is in the early stages of exploration still. We have a number of years of work ahead of us to progress it into a mine, but certainly it's a very, very exciting new discovery in Western Australia.
How many years is a number of years before that comes online, Alex?
So typically that can be anywhere from about 4 to 7 years from discovery through to production. So at the moment we haven't yet completed our feasibility studies or any of the sort of the studies that you need to do, or the regulatory approval processes that you need before obviously commencing production. So there is a decent journey ahead for us to get this asset into production. But I guess, as you mentioned, the commodity price environment is very, very strong. So we're certainly moving it forward as rapidly as possible.
And Alex, demand for palladium, that's continuing to firm. Given the green energy applications, you have the market potentially looking at a supply deficit in the second half. What's your outlook for the broader palladium market and prices? Yeah,
I think the palladium demand is forecast to be relatively flat. Obviously, the growth in hybrid vehicles is somewhat offsetting the growth in battery electric vehicles, which obviously don't require a catalytic converter. So hybrids with the catalytic converter are increasingly becoming palladium rich, or have been palladium rich for a number of years. So that certainly underpins the next few years in terms of the demand side. In terms of supply, you're talking about a market that's dominated really by two jurisdictions, Russia and South Africa. So there is certainly a strong push for jurisdictions to like Australia, as well as other safer jurisdictions to secure some of this metal and start producing domestically. So from that aspect, obviously we're very positive about the outlook. I think the other sort of looming demand source on the horizon is hydrogen, and certainly there's a lot more enthusiasm around green hydrogen in particular at the moment, and we see a major role for palladium to play, as well as platinum, iridium, rhodium. That all of the platinum group metals are going to be critically important to produce green hydrogen, as well as to convert it into in fuel cells in vehicles.
And looking ahead, Alex, what would be the sweet spot for palladium production for your mine vis-a-vis prices?
Yeah, look, I think our ultimate aim is to create a mining operation and define a mining operation that's going to be robust through the cycle. Our resource is shaping up, so our resource will be released in the third quarter of this year, and the deposit itself is shaping up as a very, very large accumulation of palladium, as well as those other metals. So we also have a very shallow deposit there that's sort of basically starting from surface. So we expect our performance and our cost profile to be very competitive in the global context, and certainly that's what we're formulating now and moving ahead with in terms of defining this project.
Alex, your stock is the best performer this year on the Metals and Mining Index. Is this a logical kind of place to be, given that you are still pretty far from coming online, or does it speak to the overall exuberance in commodities prices that we see at the moment?
Oh, look, I think no doubt the commodity markets and equity markets in general are very, very strong. So that's providing us a strong tailwind, if you like. But what we've found is very, very unique. We're talking about a sort of once in 20-year type of discovery, and particularly for it to be in Western Australia, the premier jurisdiction in the world, then it's even rarer again. So yeah, from that context, I think it's fully understandable that the valuation that we currently have. we really are just starting to scratch the surface in terms of exploring our new mineral province. We've found this deposit in a completely new part of Western Australia, and there's a huge amount of upside surrounding, in the immediate area, but also in a wider sort of 8,000 square kilometre area around this discovery. So from that aspect, I guess, it's certainly a very, very exciting discovery as it is today, but also it's got a huge amount of upside that we're quickly, looking to test with by expanding our exploration outwards.
Alex, how much domestic demand do you see for palladium once it comes online? And also I'm wondering how much domestic support there is for extraction projects that are more green, given that we've seen, whether it's across state or federal governments, a reluctance to really embrace renewables and green energy and electric cars.
Yeah, so I think obviously the Australian market is fairly small in the global context. But we certainly envisage a material, demand for palladium as well as platinum and the other PGMs, from hydrogen, and that could be, I think, sooner than what is sort of commonly accepted in the marketplace, particularly in the heavier industrial applications like trucks, trains, shipping. I think that's an obvious place for penetration for the hydrogen space. So we anticipate that our deposit will be very, very valuable, and certainly the source being Western Australia only adds to the obviously the ESG credentials of the project, if you like.
Alex, you seem to be sitting on a comfortable cash pile, but would you look to boost your planned investment, fundraise?
Yeah, at the moment we're sitting with about 130 million in cash and investments. That was as of the end of the last quarter. That's certainly a comfortable position for us to be in. It allows us to do what we want to do effectively in terms of exploring our new province. So for the time being, no, we're fairly comfortable with our current balance sheet position. But yeah, I think the priority for us is to get our discovery through to sort of scoping study and pre-feasibility study level, and then we'll be looking probably at that time to raise some more capital.